for 6 years, I studied to be a United Methodist minister, and kept waiting for them to change the church law to accept what the language in their discipline says self-avowed practicing homosexuals cannot be ordained in the ministry. You could just serve as a children's church pastor, a music pastor, whatever like that. So after 6 years of waiting for the laws in the United Methodist Church to change, and them never changing, I said, you know what, I can't wait for this forever. There are people out there that need to be encouraged and need to know that they can do it too. I'm just going to go out on my own and do it. Yeah, it was very difficult, and it was difficult because of growing up in mainline Christianity. The first difficult part was to reconcile my own personal experience and journey with what I saw in the Bible, in the scriptures. And so I didn't have any voices or anybody around me that was really giving me a new context. So it took several years before I found the Metropolitan Community Church and Reverend Troy Perry, who were writing books to say to people, look, you don't have to be condemned by this cultural narrative that's in these scriptures. You can live fully free and out and all this. So then as I started that journey and that process, then the next step first was coming out to myself. Then the next step was then having to come out to my parents, who were whole hog, Christian people. And then the next process was, okay, so now I'm okay with all this. So what do I do to help others? And that was even harder, because it was like, wow, there's no doors flinging open to help affirming ministers do this work. It's kind of like, you're on the outskirts of this. Why do you even want to do that kind of thing? Your holiness, what God speak, would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty. It was only hard at first because of my own mental limitations with the creative process. Once I realized that there were a group of people just like me that needed somebody to love, inspire, encourage them, and give them hope, it became very easy. All you had to say was, this is a place for everybody where you can come and feel loved and accepted, and I'm going to encourage you on a weekly basis to not feel condemned. And you could gather people left and right. And at that moment, then you realize, oh man, the only limitation to my serving this world was my own fear of being rejected, my own fear that it wouldn't be needed. But once you sort of tapped into your own need, which is what I needed someone to come by and say, wow, you can be uniquely you and do this with your framework. Wow. Okay, and once I tapped into my own need for approval, my own need for acceptance and love and care, and was able to translate that and say, okay, that'll be what I do for other people. I'm going to give to other people what I so desperately needed for years. And you see people do that all the time, and it's the way they find their life path and their life journey. A mom and a dad in this day and age that actually come out and support their gay, bisexual, transgender, or lesbian child a lot of times face just as much oppression from their neighbors, from their friends, from their people at their country club or their church as the kid does theirself. And even those people need somebody to come along and say, yes, way to go. Awesome for loving, stepping outside of the mental box, accepting your child for who they are, and giving them unconditional love. It's awesome.